Most people enjoy the feeling that they get when they help someone else. It's the beauty of appreciation received and the awesome feeling of being needed. It is natural to want to do things for others and to depend on and be depended upon. When it does become unhealthy, it is called codependency. But having codependent tendencies is nothing that anyone should be ashamed of, and it's actually quite normal. Codependency, essentially, is an emotional attachment to someone else's well-being, and it's when a person bases the way they feel on how another person feels. If you have a loved one who is struggling with addiction and have become codependent, it can be even more complicated. If your loved one is upset, you may be inclined to do things to help them not feel upset anymore, even if it hurts you in the long run. You essentially try to meet all of their needs, even if they are unhealthy. Unfortunately, while the codependent person thinks that they're helping their loved one, they really aren't. If the addicted person doesn't ever feel the consequences of their choices, they will fail to perceive just how bad their alcohol or drug problem is. Soon you start to inherit and share all of these problems with your loved one, and it can be very overwhelming. Perhaps your loved one stopped paying his or her bills. A lot of time you may end up choosing to pay them yourself. Or maybe your loved one's car gets repossessed. If this happens, you may be inclined to allow him or her to borrow your car. So again, when you get into the habit of helping your addicted loved one so much, you will eventually start helping them to your own detriment. If you are unable to help your loved one with something, you may feel bad. But when you become codependent, the last thing you want to do is to let your loved one feel the consequences of his or her actions. Of course, this doesn't mean that you are at fault for your loved one's continued use. It just means that you aren't allowing him or her to be responsible for their actions. The good news is that intervention can really help get you and your loved one's relationship back to a healthy place. Talking to an intervention specialist can help you and your family realize how codependency negatively affects your life and how you can change it. While no situation is exactly the same, our interventionists have staged hundreds of interventions over the years and can use their experience to help your family. It's not unusual to have more than one family member that is codependent. The interventionist will make clear how to change these codependent behaviors and help you understand what must be done moving forward to save your loved one's life. The idea is that if your loved one refuses to go to treatment, you will no longer do the things you have continued to do for them that allow their alcohol or drug use to go on. This can be an especially hard task for someone who is codependent, but our interventionist will be there to guide every step of the way. Intervention is not only effective for the person who is struggling, but is effective to the family if the family follows through on their part. Setting boundaries and creating ultimatums for the scenario in which your loved one says no to treatment is a part of the intervention process. If your loved one absolutely refuses to go to the treatment, then these ultimatums will be read out loud during the intervention. An example of an ultimatum would be telling your loved one that if she or he doesn't go to treatment, you will no longer allow access to your home or car. These ultimatums will help your loved one start to feel some of the consequences of his or her addiction and undo some of the codependent patterns that have been established. Once your loved one goes into treatment, it will be time to start the healing process for those involved who have become codependent. If no help is sought, these cycles and patterns can continue. It is known that codependent people are more likely to put themselves into risky and bad situations that affect their lives negatively. Codependency is self-destructive. This is why it is best for your family to start the process of intervention. It will not only save the life of your loved one who is struggling with drugs and alcohol, but it will help the rest of the family start the process of healing the deep wounds as well. Many times, families have just as much work to do as the person who is engaging in substance abuse, and that is nothing to be ashamed of. Let our interventionists assist your family in staging an intervention. Please feel free to comment, like, or subscribe to our channel.